On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Kash Patel has busted it wide open. Got a lot of information. In fact, about 15 minutes of video surrounding Mara Lago, the conspiracies with it, the lies that have happened around it. Kash Patel's bringing the documents, if you will. Big flaw, big lie. This is going to be one of the things that's going to boomerang hard on them, and the information's coming out. A little bit of hint that maybe the Russia thing might be moving forward, and some other interesting news. Let's get going on it. Parts of North Carolina flooded as Hurricane Erin shifts out to sea. We got a little bit of stuff here showing some of the damage.
Erin is moving north along the East Coast and is currently a Category 2 storm.
That's right. It has a maximum sustained wind speed of about 105 miles per hour. Here's the update.
The National Hurricane Center said Hurricane Erin's winds have slightly decreased since yesterday. The hurricane is southeast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, moving north along the East Coast. Tropical storm force winds extend up to 300 miles from its center. Beaches all along the East Coast are facing dangerous conditions. Swimming is restricted or completely banned in many areas, with double red flags placed on several beaches to keep people out of the water.
We are engaged, we are ready, and the people are ready to hunker down. We've evacuated the county, or Hatteras Island, and now we're getting ready to weather it and be ready with our responders to help where needed.
Currituck County in North Carolina declared a local state of emergency Wednesday morning. A mandatory evacuation was ordered for the Corolla off-road area in that county. The Outer Banks region is experiencing some of the worst storm effects. Evacuation orders are in place. It's expected to continue through Friday. Strong waves from the hurricane flooded a motel and a road in Buxton, North Carolina. Waves also reached a fishing pier's parking lot during high tide. A ferry from Block Island, Rhode Island was seen struggling through rough swells caused by Erin. Major coastal road NC-12 was shut down between Oregon Inlet and Hatteras Village.
We're out monitoring conditions with the DOT, the Park Service, and Sheriff's Office. And as you said, we've evacuated a little over 2,200 people over the last few days. And as that last ferry just left and Highway 12 being closed now, we're on the island until conditions improve.
The National Hurricane Center said it expects Erin to weaken in the coming days. It is likely to become a post-tropical storm by Saturday.
Yeah, so again, pretty brutal. The outer bands, thank God that didn't make landfall, that's for sure. We had a Navy pilot that was rescued after ejecting from his jet off the Virginia coast. It was an F-18 pilot. Sad part is, dude ejected sometime before 10 a.m., and he ended up getting picked up at 11:21 a.m., which is neat numbers. But, man, he had to float out in the water for about an hour and a half. That's pretty bummer. The jet went down into the water. He's, I guess, recovering from this. I don't know if he's injured or what. We don't know why the jet crashed. We don't know really much of anything, but we'll hopefully find out in the coming days. Big, huge news for Donald Trump. Huge news. Huge. Total victory. This is Donald Trump's truth. Total victory in the fake New York State Attorney General Letitia James case. I greatly respect the fact that the court had the courage to throw out this unlawful and disgraceful decision that was hurting businesses all throughout New York State. Others were afraid to do business there. The amount, including interest and penalties, was over $550 million. It was a political witch hunt, in a business sense, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. This was a case of election interference by the city and a state trying to show, illegally, that I did things that were wrong, when in fact everything I did was absolutely correct and even perfect. Every single dollar was thrown out, even the penalties imposed on us by the corrupt judge, one of the most overturned in history, Arthur Engeron. I wasn't given a jury, and during the course of the trial, which lasted a long time, was not given one ruling in my favor by this political hack. But worse than him, if that's possible, was Letitia James, a corrupt and incompetent attorney general who only brought this case in order to hurt me politically. She is a Trump deranged lunatic. They made me bond the outrageous sum, which never happened before, and which cost me millions of dollars a month. It should have never been allowed to happen, and everyone knew it. Importantly, the vote was 5-0. I am so honored by Justice David Friedman's great words of wisdom, which should be read by everyone. I would also like to thank the courts for having the courage to make this decision, which is already going down as one of the worst business persecutions in the history of our country. Sadly, there are other cases against me that are equally disgraceful, including those headed up by corrupt judges like Juan Merchan, whose daughter collected millions of dollars in fees, and crooked Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, while her father shockingly refused to recuse himself from a vicious and corrupt trial, which is also under appeal. One in which every legal pundit in New York said there was no case. Even editorial boards said, do not do this. Judge Mershon gave me an unprecedented gag order, not letting me talk about him or his daughter or the fact that the appellate judges thought he should not be doing the case, but he did it anyways. Many lawyers said that his daughter and him created the greatest conflict of interest they had ever seen. Judge Lewis Kaplan, the other remaining case, whose wife, family, and friends attended his 2 trials, is a mean and as nasty as anyone I have ever met. That case, also on appeal, should also never have been brought, and he should be admonished for abuse and every other thing that could be thrown at a corrupt judge. He loved the publicity and would not let us present the irrefutable evidence that we wanted to present. The Clinton-appointed judge should not be allowed to get away with this scam. So again, huge victory. And we disbar or something. These guys need to be taken down a notch for sure. Trump also truthed out something major with Tina Peters. This just, of course, reminds me of MyPillow, and we'll be doing a MyPillow commercial. But, of course, Mike Lindell has been playing a large role in trying to help Tina and get Tina out. But Trump truthed, free Tina Peters, a brave and innocent patriot who has been tortured by crooked Colorado politicians, including the big mail-in ballot supporting the governor of the state. Let Tina Peters out of jail right now. She did nothing wrong except catching the Democrats cheat in the election. She is an old woman. It's kind of a mean thing to say. She is an old woman and very sick. If she is not released, I'm going to take harsh measures. I can't wait to see what those are, because I can only imagine Colorado's just going to continue to hold her. I don't know what power we've got from Bondi, DOJ, stuff like that. I don't know what options we've got, but I'm sure Trump, probably financial. We'll see, but it's awesome that he's doing it. Absolutely stoked about that. Another huge, big victory. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals just gave President Trump the green light to revoke legal status for 60,000 migrants from Honduras, Nicaragua, and Nepal. This was previously blocked by Biden-appointed Judge Trina Thompson. That has been stopped by the Ninth Circuit. So again, every time one of these crazy things come out, it's crazy, but ultimately he's winning. I think he's won almost every single appeal. I don't know if there's any he hasn't won. Frankly, I want to say I think he's won them all, but we'll see. Texas House approves the redistricting plan as California moves forward to advance. So Trump, of course, truthing about this. Big win for the great state of Texas. Everything passed on our way to 5 more congressional seats and saving your rights, your freedoms, and your country itself. Texas never let us down. Florida, Indiana, and others are looking to do the same thing. More seats equals less crime, a great economy, and a strong Second Amendment. It means happiness and peace. But Republicans, there is one thing even better. Stop mail-in voting. A total fraud that has no bounds. Also, go to paper ballots before it's too late. At 1/10 the cost, faster and more reliable. If we do these 2 things, we will pick up 100 more seats, and the crooked game of politics is over. God bless America. Now, it's kind of funny. One of the Texas reps apparently went into the bathroom to make a phone call and was on a call with Booker and with Gavin Newsom and probably all the other crazy ones that you can imagine being in there. And they were talking about this redistricting or whatever, and I think they were actually voting on it while she was in the bathroom, so she wasn't doing her job. Basically, she was found by one of the people that are meant to keep tabs on these individuals and, basically said, look, here's the thing. What you're doing right now, having this phone call in the bathroom, you're allowed to go to the bathroom. Having this phone call that you're on right now in the restroom while there's a vote happening is a felony, is what he told her. This is a felony, what you're doing right now. And then she said, I got to go. I got to get off the call. And then she hung up. And then everyone got pissed off. Now, what's really funny is Cory Booker, he's talking about, that's outrageous. Let me tell you something. Rep. Collier in the bathroom has more dignity than Donald Trump in the Oval Office. And Newsom's like, yeah, there you go. And then he continued, what they're trying to do there is silence an American leader, silence a black woman. And that is outrageous, Booker said. Of course he makes it racist. Of course he makes it racist. We're just trying to silence a black woman who's illegally talking on the phone while she's supposed to be doing something else. What I do find interesting, the Eric Adams' longtime confidant Ingrid Lewis Martin accepted over $75,000 in bribes, including $10,000 in seafood. Strange prize, right? Like, I'll give you a bunch of seafood. Thanks, but no thanks. appreciate it. I'd take some money instead. Anyway, bombshell indictments are going on. Don't see Booker calling out the racism here. It's a black woman. It's trying to keep down the black woman. Now, look here. I honestly don't know what's going on when it comes to Eric Adams. I do know that New York is frightened that Eric Adams will win again, especially as an independent. Frightens the hell out of them. They need Mamdani to win. They need that. I don't know if they're going to get it, especially if we work on the elections, which is coming. But why aren't they calling this racist? Again, it's so stupid how the Democrats work. I'm just sorry. I have zero respect for the Democratic Party at all. They are hypocrites. They break rules, and then if you break the rule like they broke the rule, then they call you all sorts of names and point it out. No, you can't do that. It's like you've done it before. That's different. Democratic Party I have zero respect for. Zero respect for anybody, especially anybody that continues to call themselves a Democrat. No offense. I mean, I might respect you as a person, but your political choices are just redonkulous. Redonkulous. I consider most of these people to be followers, because most of the people I know that are Democrats are actually nice people for the most part, but at least most of the ones I know they're not ones to step out of line. They're followers. They do as they're told. And so they're stuck in this weird world. I think eventually they're starting to pull themselves out. We're actually finding a lot of information to suggest that that's exactly what's happening. I'll get to that story in a second. Big time. In fact, the Democrats are losing power. The judge refuses to release Epstein files. He says the DOJ should release their files. Says there's a whole bunch more stuff there than in the grand jury testimony. And I guess my big question is how exactly does that judge know that? I don't think that judge does know that. I think the judge is just assuming that, like many of us have. And I find it very interesting that a judge is trying to push us into a direction that either A, we've been told there's not really any docs. I think, honestly, any of the docs that exist, I think, are probably involved in criminal investigations. So I don't know what they can actually release. That's where I'm at with it. Almost sure of it, in fact. Also, again, the way this continues to play out with the Epstein files and the push, we think there's possibly maybe some documents that are put in there that didn't exist before. Now all of a sudden there's this big push to release them. Obviously, you've got a whole bunch of people on the MAGA side that just they want the Epstein files released. They expect there to be some sort of client list. They're expecting a client list. I don't know where we've gotten this idea that a client list would exist in there. I don't really know who put that in our heads, frankly. We had the flight logs. I don't really know where we officially got the idea that there is a client list. I think we just assume that. There must be one, right? I can't, of you guys that have access to me, which I'm going to open that up a little bit here, not too distant future. There's one more modification I need to make, and then we'll make it easier for you guys to get in touch with me if you want. I'm not necessarily going to promise I get back to you because it's just going to overwhelm me probably. We'll see, though. We'll see how it works. But we've got this assumption that there's a lot of information that exists within these Epstein files that we don't know for sure. And again, maybe it is there. Maybe it's not. I doubt there's a bunch of information just lying around, but we do know burn bags that got thrown into offices. So again, who knows? I still don't really believe that what's going on in SDNY has been fully resolved. Maybe it is. I hope it is. I just feel like there's way more stuff in there that needs to come out. There's so many major primo cases that have come out of SDNY. So again, just a lot of crazy crap going on. So as I was talking about, the death cycle of the Democratic Party accelerates with massive voter exodus. And it's not slowing down, and I think we're all doing admirable jobs, frankly, rippling the way we are. I think we're actually making sense to a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that don't want to consider themselves Democrats right now. And again, I would be shocked if even 20% of the Democrats that leave the Democrat Party are actually going to become Republicans. I'd be shocked if it's as high as 20%. I would be. But a bunch of independent people, frankly, it's fine. They'll vote the way they need to. They'll vote properly. And in fact, it's almost a better vote. Gets them out of that little trap they're in over there in the Democrat world, and it allows them the freedom to vote for whoever they want. But voting has changed a lot. Young voters in 2018, Democrats captured 66% of them. That's people under 45. by 2024, that had imploded down to 48%. So from 66% to 48%. That's a big drop in the young crowd. And that's changing. Men, Democratic share fell from 49% in 2020 to just 39% in 2024. Latinos, once a reliable voter bloc for the party, the registration is now swinging Republican. Florida Democrats dropped from 52% of new Latino registrants in 2020 to just 33% in 2024. Battleground state races, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania all saw steep Democratic erosion. Democrats are bleeding voters badly. And something like 30 states, I think it was initially called out, is where we're seeing this happen. Obviously, there's a couple major battlegrounds that they're not acknowledging. And this is only based off of public information. Not all states actually show their people registered by party. So again, it's not as easy to figure out as many want it to be. Donald Trump truthed out. Gavin Newsom is way down in the polls. He is viewed as the man who is destroying the once great state of California. I will save California. President Donald J. Trump. Thank you, brother, and I will help you every single step of the way, sir. Every step of the way. Because Gavin Newsom, this is my favorite pose right here, frankly. I like that one. That's my favorite. And you just walk into somebody. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to grab your boobs. Usually it'll get you in trouble. But needless to say, yeah, always. Good job. Oh, there's my girl. There's my girl, Alice Tang. Like her. California Democrats vote on the new congressional map to counter Texas. Oh, what the hell? We'll play it. This is my girl.
California Democrats are moving forward with a redistricting plan today. They are taking up their proposed constitutional amendment to temporarily redraw their congressional maps. The move comes hours after the Republicans in the Texas House passed new maps of their own. The California State Assembly and Senate will consider a trio of bills. If passed, they will result in a constitutional amendment to replace the state's existing congressional maps through to 2030. From there, Democrats in the state must convince California voters to overturn the congressional maps drafted in 2010. California Democrats have described their redistricting push as a reaction to the Texas plan and President Trump's efforts to create a more favorable 2026 midterm election map. The legislation includes a trigger clause where the state will only move forward if other states seek to implement their own mid-decade redistricting map. The new map proposed by Democrats would likely net the party 5 U.S. House seats.
Here's the thing, Newsom. Either do it or don't do it. But this whole idea that you're trying to hold other states hostage is absurd. It's absurd. You are such a communist dictating piece of shit, Gavin Newsom. You are a pile of trash. Do it or don't do it. Either shit or get off the pot. Stop jerking us all off, dude. This guy's a pile of shit, man. Gavin Newsom, fuck you. End mail-in voting and go paper ballots, 100%, and 100 additional seats will go to Republicans. And I just want to point out the key thing, that Gavin Newsom's plan, the only way they can do it is to bring it to the voters. So that means we're going to vote on it. Now, that might be electronic, but any election stuff for president and everything else of the Congress side, or the things that they're hoping to gerrymander, that's got to be done on paper ballots. That's got to be done in a different way. And that's happening. So California, things aren't going to go the way they've typically gone. They're actually going to go differently. A lot of people are tired of what's happening in this state. A lot of people are tired of what's happening in the state. They may not feel safe to say it outwardly because of the shame you're going to deride from someone. But many people feel this way. The U.S. Department of Justice has intensified its push for Maine's voter registration data, demanding unredacted voter rolls and all registration applications submitted over the past 18 months. We've been going at this story for a while. They still haven't sent it. They still haven't sent the voter records. In a letter Monday, and a judge has told them, you have to. In a letter Monday, Assistant Attorney General Hamid Dillon ordered Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows to comply within a week, specifying that the electronic voter list must include all fields, including the registrant's full name, date of birth, residential address, his or her state driver's license number, or the last 4 digits of the registrant's social security number. Must. The judge has already told her that you have to release them, and she still Hasn't. The Board of Commissioners for Georgia's Fulton County this is the one I was confusing with. Sorry. This is the one where they haven't done what they're supposed to. The Board of Commissioners for Georgia's Fulton County on Wednesday failed to seat 2 Republicans on the county's election board, defying a court order. They're literally not letting them put these 2 Republicans on there. Judge ruled the county had to appoint the nominee by the county's Board of Registers and Elections. On Wednesday, the 7-person Board of Commission voted 2-2 on seating the nominees, according to the Associated Press. Commissioner Bridget Thorne and Bob Ellis, Republicans, voted in favor of seating them, while Democrats Mo Ivory and Dana Barrett, Democrats, voted nay. You see, if these 2 people are put in there, that'll give a 4-2 split. It'll mean the Republicans will have control of the elections in Georgia. They are desperately fighting to hold on to that. We'll see what continues to play out, but this is ridiculous. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Ravensburger calls the matter reckless and says the county commission's actions undermine trust in the government, and they absolutely do. All the things these people like accuse Trump of, right? Oh, you're just not going to do what the law states. The law is telling you what to do, and you're not doing it, Democrats. You're hypocrites. All of you. You're fucking hypocrites, Democrats. It's ridiculous. Can you see it? Look in the damn mirror one of these days. Seriously, step away from your stupid party for a second and realize they are hypocrites. They lie. They cheat. They steal. I know that's what they say we do. It's just because they're projecting. We're actually the ones following the law. We can prove it. ICE arrests illegal alien with 38 arrests, 15 convictions, including sexual assault. They're finally sending him home. The dude's had 38 arrests, 15 convictions, including sexual assault. Again, it's just like, wow. And there's some other really baddies. It's just stupid. Stupid how it is, folks. Stupid how it is. I found out the digital coupons they give you at MyPillow are even better. They've actually enhanced the digital coupons. So anything over $100, you're going to get some sweet-ass coupons. And I did find out from MyPillow, I was promoting it yesterday, but I did find out from MyPillow, my wonderful lady, I got 2 connections over there, frankly. Well, 3 if I count Mike. I would never try to reach out to Mike, but his secretary and a lady that helps us content creators is wonderful. I feel like I shouldn't say their names. I sort of said them before, but all said, Percale Sheets. This is a sweet-ass deal. They brought this back for us, guys. This is awesome. Again, they make the best sheets ever. Their Giza sheets, obviously, are the nicest, hands down. But if you just need sheets, man, these Percale sheets are freaking awesome. They're awesome. $29.88, any size, any color. $29.88. You have a king-size California king, you got whatever weird-ass size, they've probably got a size that fits it. $30 for a set of sheets. What can you buy for $30 anymore with inflation the way it is? It's out of control. Free shipping also. Seriously, awesome deals. These slippers, you got to get them for gifts, $39.98. They're never going to be that cheap. That price is going to go up at some point. It'll go up by $10 at least. This is the ones they're trying to get rid of, so whatever colors and styles are left, they're going to go to the newer models. They're incredible slipper. It's stitched on the side. It's got like 7 layers. You can wear it outdoors if you want. Extraordinarily comfortable. It's like putting your foot in a cloud. It's awesome. They've got the incredible employee pricing on their pillows. Again, a lot of amazing products. Best towels you'll ever use. Best energy drink. You've got to try it if you haven't. The beach towels are huge. 50% off on those. Dog beds. I mean, if you love your dog, you should definitely have a MyPillow for your dog to sleep on. That's what these dog beds are. It's just a big, giant MyPillow. Trust me, your dogs are going to give you an extra love for that one. Extra love for that one. And the coffee, 50% off, man. Free shipping. Take advantage of it if you'd like coffee. It's not the greatest coffee in the world, but it's good. It's good. I was drinking it the whole time I was out in Springfield, Missouri. It was awesome. I have 0 complaints, and I am actually kind of a dork when it comes to coffee. I'm very picky. Beggars can't be choosers in certain situations, but I was drinking. I was freezing cold, and this is really all they had that was hot other than hot water and tea, which is bleh. I'm not British. Gross. We got some coffee, and I was drinking that all day. Delicious. So, again, 50% off, and they're going to ship it to you for free. You probably can't find a better deal when it comes to coffee. And, of course, the My Cross, you want to check those out. It's sterling silver. They've got 2 different versions of it. They've got the black with silver or the white with a black outer. Pretty awesome. You can go to my store, too. A whole lot of cool American-made stuff there. And use the same coupon code, or you just go MyPillow or mystore.com/OTF, or in this case, MyPillow. mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. That coupon code, we've earned it. It's giving us great stuff. Free shipping on top of that. And this is just a few of us. Probably, Bannon, the War Room, and us, and I think one other group. Bro, we're such a small channel compared to some of these guys. And Bannon's got 1 million people, million-plus people watching him, right? It's insane. We get the same deal. It's because you guys are that awesome. And I'm kind of okay too, right? mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you've ever had. FDA's warning over some potentially radioactive Walmart shrimp. It was produced by an Indonesian company because it may have been exposed to radioactive material. What it sounds like is the shipping container that it was in had cesium-137 contamination. Cesium-137 it's something that's created by nuclear fission, right? But it's generally used in medical devices and gauges and stuff like that. It can cause burns, acute radiation sickness, and even death. It is radioactive. It's not good stuff to get. And so likely they were transporting some medical equipment, maybe inside the same thing at the same time. And obviously it was dirty, that room, that shipping container. And so because of that, the shrimp likely got contaminated. So again, if you bought it at Walmart, which is where most of it is, it's going to be Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Texas, West Virginia. So yeah, I don't know if you guys got any notices or not, but if you bought some shrimp from any of these places, make sure it's not the Bubba Gump shrimp. That's the best shrimp ever. It sure is. This is the Indonesian shrimp. That's the one you don't want. Bubba Gump's actually really good stuff. Attorney General Pam Bondi is announcing Wednesday that a $500 reward is going to be offered for tips leading to arrests in Washington, D.C. Just the tip, baby. Just the tip. $500 though. It's pretty cool. It goes back to that whole neighbors narking on neighbors, but this is all about narking on criminals, right? Not like, hey, if somebody's turning their lights on at night and they're not supposed to because we're trying to save power as a nation. That's different, right? That's narking on your friend over some stupid green stuff and calling that a law. This is actually people that commit crimes, like gangbangers and stuff. It's like, I'm scared to ever talk to them. $500 for tips. You got some information. You're going to get some money. This young lady who also works for NTD Television, which I found out, I did not notice. It makes sense. I didn't realize it, but they're a sister station of the Epoch Times. One of the reasons why I like them so much personally is they cover the China stuff very well, and they have two reporters that I've got just giant crushes on. Giant crushes. I almost want to tell the girlfriend about it. It's that strong a crush. Not like anything's ever going to come from it. Of course. Gorgeous ladies over there. Rob punched and pistol-whipped. I'm just lucky my girlfriend doesn't watch the show. I would talk totally differently. I would not have the cojones I have if I knew she was listening. Robbed, punched, and pistol-whipped. A White House reporter account of crime in D.C. She walked out of her flat apartment, whatever they call it, and she got out some dude with a mask, runs up to her out of nowhere, says, "Give me your phone." And then she handed him the phone, and then with cold precision ordered me to hand over my wallet, laptop, and her phone password. But she knew she had a whole bunch of stuff on there because she was part of the media, and she's like, "I can't. Don't do this." And then he hit her in the face, that beautiful face, with the butt of his gun. And then he ran off, thank God. And she was screaming help. So fortunately, she didn't get shot. Fortunately, she's healed. But this happened in D.C. A shithole. Donald Trump's talking some crazy talk. Check this out.
And I'm going to be going out tonight. I'm going to keep it a secret. But I'm going to go. You're the only one that knows. You and your lots of listeners. You have a great show. You have a very successful show, by the way, in case you haven't heard that. But I'm going to be going out tonight, I think, with the police, with the military, of course. So we're going to do a job. The National Guard is great. They've done a fantastic job. And I'm going to be going out tonight.
Yep. So Trump's supposedly going to be going out. I'm sure they're not going to announce it. It's not going to let people know who and where he is. But he's going to be out there. Fed governor accused of fraud and urged to resign by Trump vows to stay in the post. Of course. It's all mortgage fraud stuff. We'll see where it goes. But I do think we've got some enhancements news-wise that we get here. Maria Bartiromo had this individual, Polte, and he's got some additional information that you're probably going to want to hear. Check it out.
Tell me about the criminal referral that you sent to the DOJ over Lisa Cook. What did she do specifically, Bill? Well, Lisa Cook has big problems. They're going to continue to get bigger. Her statements that she made last night, I think, only make her situation worse. It's very odd to see people try to twist back ways, sideways, and upside down to justify mortgage fraud. This is a very serious crime. Mortgage fraud, it carries up to 30-year prison sentences. I believe the president has ample cause to fire Lisa Cook. Whether he wants to do that or not is entirely up to the president. However, we will go where mortgage fraud is. If mortgage fraud is with a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter. If you commit mortgage fraud in President Trump's America, we're going to come after you. And Lisa Cook is no exception to that. I've also been very surprised, Maria, I would say, with the lack of response and the mismanagement, the continued mismanagement by Jay Powell throughout all of this. You know, you would think when there's an alleged crime that somebody would be able to handle things properly. But unfortunately, I think Jay Powell is actually walking himself into this whole situation. He used the federal spokespeople last night, the Federal Reserve spokespeople, to circulate her statement. I don't know why anyone would support somebody having and declaring on a mortgage contract that they have two primary residences. That is fraud, and we are going to prosecute it. And I hope that the DOJ will take it very seriously.
So according to mortgage documents, you write to the DOJ, to Pam Bondi, that Lisa Cook falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms?
Well, of course, you can't declare that in her case, she had a home in Michigan, and then 2 weeks later, she gets a loan in Michigan for her home. She declares it as her primary principal residence, and then literally 2 weeks later, she goes to an Atlanta condo, buys an Atlanta condo, secures a loan, and also declares that as her primary residence. We all know primary or principal, that means one. That means the lead dog. That means what house are you living in? And in this case, we have a Federal Reserve governor who's in charge of setting interest rates, running this entire economy, right hand to Jerome Powell, committing, in my view, mortgage fraud. This can't happen. I think it gives the president enormous cause to fire her. I think she will resign. Frankly, I think she's very stupid if she doesn't resign. People are sick and tired of one rule for certain people and another rule for other people. And it's got to stop, and I think it's going to stop with the Federal Reserve governor. And frankly, I would be surprised if she's not suspended by the Federal Reserve this week.
Do you have grand juries in place for this, for Lisa Cook, for Adam Schiff?
Well, we send criminal referrals all the time. That's what's funny about this is people are saying, oh, well, you know, this is selective. No, it's not. When we get mortgage fraud, we are going to prosecute it. And we are not prosecutors. So what we are going to do is we are going to refer that to the DOJ. You know, Maria, I refer people almost every day to the Department of Justice for mortgage fraud. Why should Lisa Cook be exempt from that? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And whether it's Adam Schiff or Letitia James or, frankly, any other Republican, if you commit mortgage fraud, there should be consequences. You know, this risks the rule of law. This risks the integrity of the institution that we have. This risks the safety and soundness of the mortgage bond market. We can't have that. We either have to have a safe and sound bond market that everybody agrees to certain rules, or we have to have this mayhem where a Federal Reserve governor can say that she's outside of the law. No one is above the law.
That's right. And those words are going to constantly haunt the Democrats because, again, they're hypocrites. Hypocrites. It's horrible. Unreal. It's, again, one thing, too, I just want to remind any of you guys out there that maybe want to get involved. This is a great example. This storm has arrived. I mean, this guy's probably huge. I don't know how many people he's got subbed on him, but if you're somebody that likes watching the TV, especially the news shows like Fox, even if you can handle some of the other shows, and you can actually record and do editing, like if you know how to do video editing, man, I'll tell you what, you can be one of the people that gets that snippet out. If you can get something that's chopped down and sort of small, you will be amazed how many people will end up using your information. So again, it's kind of a way to do something you like to do and then make it work for you, right? Just saying. And then you can put links, say for my healthy home people, you can put your link underneath or in the thing where you put your video, right? You can put some caption, drop your link in there. Now all of a sudden you're advertising. Look at that. Now all of a sudden you're making some extra money on the side. Look at that. Helps out during times like now when the economy's a bit on the sucky side, right? Well, it's weird anyways. Not really sucky. IRS began a criminal probe into the Clinton Foundation in 2019 and then stopped. It's a complex story. There's a lot going on. A lot going on. But these guys basically were digging into it. I want to say it started in like 2017, Trump. And they found all sorts of stuff that was concerning. It appears to have moved from a serious initial interest in pursuing the Clinton Foundation's potential wrongdoing to slamming on the brakes, allegedly claiming that such an inquiry couldn't and wouldn't be launched after all. So they kind of put the brakes on this whole thing after they started realizing there's some legit stuff here. So again, different rules for them than there are for us. This is how it's always been, the two-tiered justice, what we've been screaming for years, that everyone's like, that's just a conspiracy theory, says the people that aren't on the side that gets picked on. losing another thing like PayPal. Like, I've lost two things now. Like, PayPal hit me, and that was just weird. It really bugged me when it happened. The Wise one pissed me off, though. Wise pissed me off. And again, it's in Europe. Stupid company. I even complained. I gave them a Google 1-star review, put a screenshot in there, and then they basically responded and made it sound like I was a criminal. I was like, yeah, you bastards, you won that. You won that battle, but I will win the war. Yeah, Wise sucks balls, and I got a couple advertisers that use it to pay me, so I don't know what's going to happen there, because that payment's never going to be able to go through again. It'll get canceled on their side, so they're going to have to reach out to me and be like, hey, something's up with Wise and you. And I'll be like, yeah, they're wise to me. Whatever the case is, bastards. Two different sets of rules, man. So we got some stuff. He's going to talk about it, I think, a little bit more here and where he's going with it. This is the same guy, gentleman, John Solomon. He's directly involved with this, Just the News website. So always fun to pull stuff from here. I find they tend to be about a day behind, but they do very good work over there. Very, very good work. Clinton Foundation continues to collect money and operate a library that was turned over to the National Archives. Foundation was never issued a letter. Like, there's just so much nasty stuff. IRS memo continued to explain that these two whistleblowers analyzed the Form 990s, legally obtained emails involving the Clinton Foundation and other documents from their FOIA requests. They found numerous problems with the Clinton Foundation. Foundation was not operating for its intended purposes of building the library and, again, stealing money. Like, think of all the money they did for Haiti, for the earthquake. Think of all the money that was taken and put into Gavin Newsom's wife's foundation for the people that lost their homes in Palisades. $100 million. $100 million just disappeared. There you go. They're still doing it. They've been doing it. They're getting caught, and that's kind of what he's talking about here, I think. So let's give him his time.
Okay, big story here and a bigger one coming tomorrow.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, we'll talk about them in a second. So this is another example. Last week, we talked about the 3 FBI probes that were shut down in 2016 at the direction of the Obama Justice Department. The famous quote, shut it down. Those agents were not allowed to pursue predicated criminal investigatory information about the Clinton Foundation in a pay-to-play scheme. We now learn 3 years later, 2019, in the first Trump administration, 2 whistleblowers, one of them a decorated federal investigator who used to do terrorism financing and uncover all of the al-Qaeda financing for the U.S. government, very respected. They file a whistleblower complaint. It leads to a criminal investigation by IRS. They're moving down the path very quickly. Hey, we might want to sign you special witnesses up as confidential witnesses. We might want to have you work with us. Let's get this case done. And then a full stop out of the blue. We can no longer talk about the Clinton Foundation. We can't talk about it. We're shutting it down. We got the internal emails from the IRS. What was going on behind the scenes at the IRS? They were making up excuses like this. The IRS doesn't have any resources to investigate a nonprofit that might have been violating the law. Now, the same IRS that went after lots of conservative nonprofits in the 14-15 timeframe and the famous Lois Lerner scandal suddenly had no resources when it came to Hillary Clinton and her foundation and pay-to-play and tax allegations. All the documents are up on the website, and people can read them. There is a protection racket that was around Democrats, whether it was Hillary and Bill Clinton or Joe Biden or Hunter Biden. We keep seeing federal agents being denied the right to pursue normal criminal investigations when it came to Democrats.
Yeah. All right. This is getting bigger by the day. We know grand juries are formed. We know there's a grand conspiracy investigation. We're going to learn something about a very prominent name tomorrow. What can you tell us?
Yeah. So I mentioned last week that there was a section of those James Comey FBI leak investigation memos that was redacted. I believe because of the good work of Kash Patel, the FBI director, and the Attorney General Pam Bondi, we're going to get to see what's behind those redactions. I think it's going to shock people. I think we're going to see some pretty clear evidence of what the lieutenants working for James Comey were told to do. I think when people see it tomorrow, they'll get a real shock of just how much evidence the government had and didn't pursue. Again, the same pattern, Sean. You get pretty strong evidence of criminality. You don't pursue it when it comes to Democrats or their friends in the deep state.
It's so important to realize, too, that we are at this interesting turning point where, again, a lot of attention is being brought to this. And for you guys that are ripple makers, what really matters is turning up the temperature from a public standpoint, from a cultural zeitgeist standpoint, from a larger voice standpoint. And how we do that, it's kind of the 100 monkey thing even, sort of, right? And how that happens is by all of us echoing this. It's what they used to do on Twitter with bots. They would echo directions and thoughts, and people that are kind of running on autopilot will, we'll go with it. You guys rippling these thoughts Not bots doing it, you guys doing it, so you can add your own spin, you can add your own touch, you've got your own actual set of people, and you're doing who knows what, hopefully, editing videos, making videos, doing audio stuff, maybe just finding cool blogs, maybe you're just like the meme master. Frickin' A, meme away, baby, meme away. Meme like it. It's like you're never gonna meme again. This is the time to help raise the temperature, because this is what's happening. Everybody's waking up. And as everybody's waking up, you guys, are going to be kind of on the top layer of that sort of helping direct. Like I keep saying, we're the people with the flashlights, or at least that's what I see myself as. Just a dude holding a flashlight, just trying to help you find your way. Trying to help. And that's what all of us are here to do. You guys are making such a huge difference. You can see it. It's happening. So again, it's not necessarily copying what I do as much as do what you do, but keep doing it and knowing that we're making a difference. That's freaking awesome. Deep State Purge, Gabbard's going to cut a whole bunch of Intel staff, almost half, about 40%. Yeah, it's kind of a roundup, I guess, but nonetheless, about 40% of her specific office is going to get thinned down, especially some of the crap parts of it. They talked about the restructuring or will eliminate offices such as Foreign Malign Influence Center, the National Counter-Proliferation and Biosecurity Center, and the Cyber Threat Intelligence Integration Center. Sounds like a bunch of bullshit centers, or centers that are obviously redundant. Centers that were probably doing DEI stuff or whatever, right? Whatever the case is, she's getting rid of some specific overlap in her mind, and that's freaking awesome. Trump admin moves to stop Medicaid from going to migrants. This is going to be a very interesting little fight that's happening, because you got places like California and stuff that actually let people use Medicaid for illegal people that shouldn't get it. And since it's a national policy that illegal aliens are not allowed to get Medicaid, if you're actually California, and I think California's had to switch it, and I think they have. They've got, what do they call it? Something Cal, what is a Cal Aid or Al, I don't know, whatever it is, Med-Cal, something stupid, Medi-Cal, something like that, whatever the case. It's something, I don't know what it is because I don't use it, but it is the version that they're sucking money out of us all, and now they're losing a lot of their funding on other stuff because of the transgender, because of the railroad, because of just the stupid stuff. Again, I just know my state. Right? New York, you've probably got your versions of stuff going on. They took away that tax from you guys, the one that if you drive on the road into Manhattan, you got to pay a toll on a public road. Like, you can't charge a toll on a public road. We're making differences. Donald Trump put this out. Any California school district that doesn't adhere to our transgender policies will not be funded. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, in all fairness, most funding for schools does not come from the federal government, at least here in California. It's property taxes, and majority of it, and then there's some other stupid stuff they do, bonds and other crap. So that said, the California schools, teachers, again, what they want for pay. Anyway, so this is going to be drastic. Just a little bit that Donald Trump took away from them, or will take away from them, will be enough to tip it over, right? So it's coming. It's coming, guys. U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro, that sounds better that way, ends felony charges for carrying registered rifles or shotguns in D.C. You can now carry rifles and shotguns in Washington, D.C. There's a part of me, like the part of me that used to be a little more lefty back when I was younger, is like, oh my God, that's pretty awesome. But then the other part of me that owns firearms is like, cool. I'll tell you, if a bunch of people have guns, nobody's going to use a gun to kill somebody because they're going to immediately get shot by somebody else. Like, it's just, you don't do it. There's rules. It's kind of like back in the day, right? You didn't just walk up to somebody and say stupid stuff like we can get away with online now, right? Telephone tough guy, if you remember the Lethal Weapon. Forget what Getz. Forget what his first name is. Whatever. But yeah, Leo Getz. Yeah, Leo Getz. That guy's awesome. So anyway, I love those movies. All said, let's get back on track, Dan. Anyway, they're making it cool to do that. You can walk around with guns. As long as it's registered to you. If it's not registered, yeah, you're going to jail. So, yeah, I dare you to walk around. Someone's going to check. Hey, is that gun registered? Yeah, do you mind if I check? Yeah, sure, check it out. That's what somebody would say if they're probably legal, right? You wouldn't care. You're like, yeah, it's registered to me. I'm not worried about it. If it's not properly registered to you, you're going to be like, no, you don't have a right to do that. And they'll be like, all right, we're arresting your ass right now, buddy. Got questions. I'm curious. HHS terminates California's sex education grant over gender ideology content. They said you're teaching all this gender studies crap in there. Department of Health and Human Services on Thursday announced it's terminating California's participation in this federal program. It's a sex education program. Gee whiz, California. You keep making bad choices, don't you? Don't you? Gavin Newsom, you big giant piece of trash. Did I say that again? I didn't cuss this time, at least. I wanted to. Probably going to again, if I think about them more. Dude, TWC, this wellness company, these guys are awesome. I am loving, I'm just loving it. I'm loving the experience. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm loving the changes I'm noticing. There's factors that we all play a part in, so like diet and stuff like that plays a huge role in some of my experiences, but nonetheless, the thing is almost completely gone on my chest. It's just this thin little sliver, it's tiny. And then, again, like I've noticed some of them have little weird red freckle thingies, whatever they are. They're probably not that cool looking. I mean, I don't want to get into all my personal nastinesses, but whatever. They're turning like a different color. So it's almost like those are maybe dying. And that's the one thing where I'm like, I didn't ever think that would happen. So this is, and I've gotten more of them as I've gotten older, which again, aging sucks, right? I think all of you would agree with me on that one, unless I've got some very young people that have no idea what the hell that's like. But TWC, they're about keeping you healthy, right? A lot of us, maybe we're losing our hair at this point. Certainly I am. A little thin on the hair side. It's bumming me out. Not happy about it. It's not totally bald yet, but, it's not good. First off, let's talk about the ivermectin mebendazole. This is what we're talking about when it comes to the parasite cleanse. We're going to call it that. And if you do a little research into parasites, how parasites work, what parasites are involved in, you will actually start to find that this is an extremely good regimen. The 25 milligrams of ivermectin, the 250 milligrams of mebendazole, which is in the same family as fenbendazole, except they don't have a human version of that yet. You can do the other ways. I'm well aware of them. This is done by a doctor. This is legal. This is everything. This is above board. It's the same exact family of medicine. It's just a slightly different variety. All said, you're getting 90 days worth of pills. If you look at the cost and you break it down per pill what the cost is, and then go and look up what it would cost you to get 25 milligrams of ivermectin from India or China or wherever. Go cheap, go wherever. 250 milligrams of mebendazole. See what that'll cost you per pill from India or China. I dare you. And you will actually come back and be like, holy crap. And if I buy it using Dan's code, I'm going to actually save money too. And it's already cheaper than it would be if I bought it from India. Yeah, it is. This is a parasite cleanse. It's extremely good. It's, when you look at, it's 90 days. I know the dollar mark freaks some people out, because it's like sticker shock. You're like, but it's a 90-day supply. It's 3 months. It's 90 pills. You take 1 pill a day. Break down the numbers. It's not that much. It really isn't. And it is very effective. And again, do some research on what parasites. You probably mostly are aware of the causes of cancer. They're starting to link some of that stuff to parasites. Some of the other ailments we experience, they think are possibly parasites. Now, there are some other parasites in the body, and you can certainly do more. There's other things, but this does do better than I think a lot of people realize, especially with the mebendazole. But again, we're all growing older, right? So longevity, anti-aging, you want to help with that? You got the stuff. Appetite, you're a little maybe chunky. You want to help with that? Drop some weight even, right? We've got, what's the sexual health even? All right, maybe you need a little happiness there. Your brain, right? You thinking? You're worried you're not thinking enough? Start maybe doing a little more of that, what's that one with the numbers? Zaduco or whatever it is, do some of that, and then do some methylene blue, right? We got the methylene blue here. It's good for your brain, get you thinking. It's got 3 different things that support that. Methylene blue, NAD plus restores mitochondrial function and mental clarity, right? What was I talking about? Anyway, PQQ, that supports cellular renewal, boosts energy, and enhances memory. And then, of course, methylene blue enhances cognition, energy, and cellular resilience. People are loving this recharge. This one's awesome, right? You got gum issues, right? Smile stuff. They got stuff for your hair, weight. This is testosterone support, which, again, be careful. These are doctors doing it. So, this is support. Hopefully it's something, I don't know a lot about these particular products. And again, doctors are doing it. And I like Dr. Drew, Dr. McKenna, good people. McCullough, something like that. He's one of the famous ones. And yeah, hormonal balance for ladies. We got, again, a lot of awesome products. Plus the emergency kits. The contagion kits got all sorts of antiviral medicines in them. It's just, there's so much great stuff on the site. So much great stuff. You got 12 ivermectin, 25 milligram tablets. 12 milligrams. You get 25 tablets. Hydroxychloroquine, they've got 14 tablets of the 200 milligram. The azithromycin, the generic Z-Pack, they got 12 of those, so you got an antibiotic in there. They've also got this other antiviral generic Tamiflu, 10 tablets. I want to tell you guys, and it wasn't one of these, I don't think, but a buddy of mine got shingles, and he caught it early. An older friend of mine caught it early, went to the doctor prescribed him antiviral. He never got shingles. His shingles, it never started hurting. I think he went through kind of some of it, it sounded, because he talked about it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever, but it never hurt. He never got to the pain point. And another friend that had it, and it was just everything hurt to put shirts on, he talked about it constantly. So just something to keep in mind. Antivirals are good to have. Contagion kits are where you find these particular one, right? They've got first aid and all sorts of other stuff. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's TWC, the wellness company. twc.health/OTF. Yeah, seriously. Healthy thoughts, healthy choices, man. It makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference. W's funny. It's like the WWW. It's the only acronym, I think, the only acronym that's actually more syllables to say the initials of it than it is to say the actual words. World Wide Web, right? Each word's one syllable, but when you say WWW, that's 9 syllables. Kind of funny, right? Not most things don't do that. It's kind of funny. Anyways, I'm a weirdo. Kash Patel, 10 minutes talking to what's this dude's name? Kudrow, I think it is. Something like that. Yeah, Larry Kudlow. There you go. They're talking all about the cat, Tulsi Gabbard, Ed Martin. All these guys are doing they're out there, again, heating it up. Well, they know we're sharing it. They know we're talking about it. They're putting each other out so each one doesn't have to do just constant days. Scott Bessent's been on this as well. These guys are all working together, spending time in front of the camera, and I'm sure that had a huge role in why they chose a lot of the people they chose in the roles they chose. People that are comfortable being in front of the camera often, and they need to be. Needless to say, Kudlow talking to Kash about some of this crazy that's coming out.
Now, I got to say, though, Director Kash Patel, my judgment at least, just one Indian's judgment, the FBI is not here to invade the home of a former president and first lady. That is not what the FBI is supposed to do. Now, that's not under your aegis. That came in the prior administration. I get that. But I have a lot of questions about that. First of all, how is that possible? And how is the FBI just going to go and raid Mara Lago, at President's home, for heaven's sakes? How could that have happened, and would it happen again? That's another question I want to ask.
The answer to both of those questions is the same in terms of origination. It was a total weaponization and politicization by the FBI and DOJ in the Biden administration, dating back to the Obama administration, that led not only to Russiagate, as you opened up with, but to the invasion of Donald Trump's private home in Mara Lago. There was, as we now know, thanks to the federal courts, there was no constitutional basis to do so. There was no lawful predicate to open that investigation. But once you let the politicians run the FBI and DOJ and weaponize it against their political opponents, like they have done for years against Donald Trump, back to Russiagate and to his home, we are now showing and exposing again the weaponization. And to your second point, once we rid, and that's what we're doing here at the FBI, ridding this place of its former leadership structure that did that weaponization, and we're giving accountability to the American people as we find it. As you highlighted, myself, Director Ratcliffe, and others in the intelligence community are declassifying documents at a great rate to publicize what we're finding so the American public can read it for themselves.
Kash, has there been a full investigation of the Mar-a-Lago invasion? Why, where, when, who did it? You talk about the leaders. I guess we can blame the leaders of the FBI, but there are a lot of people on the ground. I don't know how that all works. Question, has there been a major league investigation? I don't think the public is aware of one, or if there is, what the conclusions were.
Look, Larry, on this one, as you know, I got to be careful in terms of what investigations we formally have open. But you know this from me. I've been on the Russiagate beat for about a decade, getting back to my time with Congressman Chairman Devin Nunes, exposing the corruption at the FISA court, the illegalities and the weaponization there, and the involvement of Hillary Clinton's campaign to directly fund and weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI. And what I'm committed to here as the director of FBI is to root it all out. And here's the thing, Larry. We are answering questions publicly so the public knows what we're doing in terms of whether or not we have an investigation. Putting that aside, these documents show that people in leadership positions may have lied. lied. Brennan, Clapper, Comey. We are not going to leave one document unturned. That is why we are going out throughout this building and throughout the country and finding these materials that they wrote down in burn bags and tried to destroy. And all of it, in my opinion, we are going to show the public, at least through the declassification process and the documents we're producing, that it is public. And whether or not this investigation is going as far-reaching as it should, I will just answer you with this. While I can't comment on the investigation itself, me specifically, have shown the American public time and time again of the weaponization, and now I'm the director of the FBI, thanks to Donald Trump, and we have a great Attorney General in Pam Bondi. And where we can find accountability, we are joining forces literally on a daily basis to do so, especially on the matters involving Russiagate. No one knows it better than the team we've built here.
Listen, I know. I mean, you've been on this show many times. We've talked about it on the show many times. We've talked about it on the radio show. But, Kash, can you say there is an investigation of the FBI's role in that invasion?
I am, of course, overseeing the current matters that the FBI involved themselves with during from Russiagate on. And whether or not there's an open investigation, Larry, I think you know that I can't answer that, but I think you know that our partners across the IC would not be divulging this type of information if it did not serve some sort of use. For me, specifically here at the FBI, I can't speak for them. And of course, I won't speak to any charging decisions on any matters. That will come with the collaboration of our great partners at DOJ, who work hand in hand with us every day.
I know. All right, let me ask follow-up, though. Have the leaders, it's under a different regime. You came in, you're there now, the leader. But have the old leaders who assigned this and directed this operation, have they been dismissed from the FBI?
Every single person that has been found to have weaponized or participated in that process has been removed from leadership positions. And if and when we find any others that are involved in this, as you know, this is a 37,000-person agency, we are going to take swift action just like we have. And just look at the record of the people that have been dismissed for their actions and what they're saying when they get out there about how they personally opined about the weaponization of this place, just like one of Peter Strzok's friends did recently this past week.
Right.
That's how we know we're finding the right folks. Right. And we're going to keep doing it. It's not done yet, but we're going to stay on it.
All right. I get it. Thank you for that answer. I you're going as far as you can go. Another question. Why was Mara Lago invaded? What were they looking for? This is speculation. No one knows to this day. I mean, it happened several years ago. We'll probably be talking about this for years ahead. The subject of Russiagate came up at the Alaska meeting of the two leaders, Russia and the United States, Putin and Trump. What were they doing there, Kash? Does anybody have any idea? Why was the FBI? What was the FBI looking for?
Creating a crime where one did not exist. The answer has been definitive. There was no crime. There was no predicate to go and invade Donald Trump's home. We have answered that definitively. Now, you know me, working backwards from that point, we are going to hold people accountable who weaponize that system of justice for the following reason. We, the FBI, must restore accountability and credibility of the American public so we can arrest more top 10 predators, so we can go after more terrorists, so we can find the other people involved in Abbeygate. These are the cases that matter to the FBI, and the distractions, to put it mildly, from the prior leadership regime are what thwarted the American public's belief and credibility in the FBI. And so when they do raids like Mara Lago, now the American public knows it was made up, it was completely false, it was completely unconstitutional pursuant to our judicial courts, and we are working into those matters to say, why did you do it? We know there was no reason. Now it's time for accountability, and that's who we're talking to. And by the way, Larry, I'd like to announce on your show, if you got nothing to hide and you were in DOJ and FBI before, you're welcome to come talk to the FBI at any time. And if you don't want to come talk to us, we're going to come find you, and we're going to put you in an investigative position and posture that will make you feel very uncomfortable, kind of like you did when you weaponized the government. The only difference is we're going to be doing it on a factual, legal, and constitutional basis to do so.
Is there any doubt in your mind that the progenitors of this whole Russiagate nonsense was Barack Obama and B, Hillary Clinton and the Clinton campaign? Is there any doubt about that? They were, the Intel and the FBI ran with the ball, and the media ran with the ball, but Hillary Clinton's campaign invented this whole Steele dossier, and Barack Obama, gave it new legs by getting a changed intelligence assessment after the election was over. Is there any doubt in your mind that that's basically correct?
No. And look at the ICA that was just declassified by Director Radioactive, the Intelligence Community Assessment. It literally shows in the declassification that people did not follow appropriate procedures, and Brennan and Clapper and Comey put their thumb on the scale and said, oh, this document has to be written in such a way that it shows such a baseline so that President Obama at the time and Hillary Clinton could use it to weaponize justice. And look, that's not me saying it. That's in the documents. And that's why this investigations of this matters are going on in the public as much as we can so we can bring them along. I know you reported on Russiagate from jump, but there weren't many that did so credibly.
You bet we we did.
So
you bet we did. It infuriated me. It infuriated me. Okay, listen, it's quite true. I work for Trump. Okay, and I'm a supporter of Trump, but I did it because this is an American thing. We have to restore the integrity of our law enforcement system here to make America, great again, to coin a phrase. Kash Patel, last minute, just got to ask you this. It's a lot smaller beer than what we've been talking about, but this business about mortgage fraud is cropping up everywhere. Now we have this Federal Reserve Governor, Lisa Cook. We had Senator Adam Smith. We got in New York, the Attorney General, Letitia James. Does the FBI do the investigating for mortgage fraud?
It's generally speaking, it's a multi-agency effort, and when we receive referrals, we reach out to the experts at FHHA and all the other institutions like the Federal Reserve and you're talking about, and we say, hey, if this is a matter that you want us to look at, you got to provide us with all the documentation, and we will take a thorough look at it and work with our partners at DOJ.
I mean,
all of these
if you have a contract, we've all done it, or most of us have done it. You have a contract and it says, is this your primary residence? What's so hard about that? It's like binary. Yes, no. Yes, no. There's no fudging. Yes or no. I don't understand what's so hard about this. There's like this disease breaking out.
Yeah, and listen, we are going to rout out any sort of corruption, especially public corruption, because that's what President Trump promised the American people, and that's what this FBI is going to deliver, whether it's mortgage fraud or public corruption. I think you just saw a couple of takedowns by the FBI in the last month of 2 sitting mayors and police officers who were publicly involved in corruption, I believe in New Orleans and elsewhere. So that effort's not coming, and we've got a lot more public corruption cases that we're building here as we speak.
So much in there, obviously, and we've got actually some more here to share in as well, but it brings up a question in my mind, and I don't know, you guys maybe in chat talk about. I'm curious what this people think on this one. I might actually go in and check the comments on this show today. But the Obama-Hillary thing, right? He asked him specifically, do you think Obama, do you think Hillary were basically directly behind this? And he's like, yeah. And so a lot of people, and again, I'm not trying to piss anyone off. This is not where my point of this is, so please, no, that's not the point. But the question, I think, remains at large. I find it funny that we got Obama and we've got Hillary that are doing this and going after it. But when Kash was asked about Epstein, when Kash was asked what happened with Epstein, when he had Dan Bongino there with him, what he said is what he said. He was just asked, in my opinion, something that was not horribly dissimilar, and I actually expected him not to answer Kudlow's question, but he did. I don't know, just wondering. I don't know. Curious what you guys think. If you guys think there's any similarity there? If you think, maybe he was, I don't know. I know a lot of people, again, the Epstein thing is a very loaded third rail kind of thing right now, which is also trippy in its own right. Like, we should be able to talk about anything. 9/11, right? I was awake during 9/11. A lot of you guys weren't. And anybody that questioned that was very much hated. Very much hated. Much like we're being hated now, right? Like, if it's uncomfortable when you get that hate, yeah, I feel you. I've been kind of feeling that for a long time. And it's made me very, like PTSD, kind of. Anybody that tries to get close to me probably knows that. Like, at some point, you'll probably piss me off. Like, I'm like Elon Musk almost. It's really hard to be close to me. It just is. I'm just hard to be close to. I've had so much craziness kind of happen in my own world. And, it's just, we are where we are. And I believe that most of us have been kind of molded into who we were supposed to be. I think it's kept me safe, I'll tell you that. But all said, we are going through a crazy time. The truth is coming out. They still have a lot of control. And they're still giant assholes. That's for sure. Anyway, here's John Solomon and Kash Patel, but they're all talking about the Mara Lago raid. This may be the ultimate boomerang. I think it's a good point. Check it out.
4 grand juries are currently gathering evidence. It doesn't matter the jurisdictions at this point because they're just simply gathering where people are to make it quick and fast. At some point, I believe they'll roll them up and they'll take them to Fort Pierce, Florida, and put them under the U.S. Attorney in Miami, who's a rock star in the legal community. And,
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and by the way, for those of you who don't know what Fort Pierce is, that's where the raid on Donald Trump was litigated, and that's where Judge Eileen Cannon is. And so there's a sweet irony to the fact that that's where the boomerang may end up.
How could that be jurisdictionally?
Because you're going to look at what Jack Smith did and what the raid. Well, actually, Jack Smith wasn't there when they raided Donald Trump's house, but all the litigation he did there is the final act of the conspiracy, right? It's the same conspiracy. Hillary has a problem, Russia collusion. Hunter Biden has a problem, Ukraine impeachment. Joe Biden has a classified document problem, Donald Trump's going to have the problem. And the ludicrousness of it is Donald Trump was probably almost certainly the Supreme Court would have ruled he would have had the right to take those documents with him. He's an ultimate declassifier. He just said, I thought I declassified them. I waved my hand over it. It's done. That's all you have to do as a president. I know of a president, George W. Bush was sitting in the room. He's a world later, and he decided, hey, I'm just declassified right now. I'm telling these guys this. He just did. No penalty. So the idea that they were going to bring this charge against Donald Trump for the classified document, it was only to protect the fact that Joe Biden, what did they do? They waited till Donald Trump was indicted, and then they said, oh, we forgot to tell you, Joe Biden had those documents in his house. They kept it a secret. That's what they've done. So the final act of the conspiracy is the cover-up of Joe Biden's classified documents by charging President Trump, and then you work your way back.
Now you have a 6-year saga of criminal activity from Russiagate to the raid. And it's the same people at the FBI and DOJ who started and launched Russiagate that are now supervising and doing the Mara Lago raid, the search warrant, and the efforts to take down a president. So it's just an extension of that. And the mainstream media is covering it and applauding it because they want one thing, for Trump never to run again. It's not all roads lead back to Russiagate just because it's the same people, but because the same people are trying to bury the same information. And it's been reported in the press since we did our last show, which I called before that this same crew of counterintelligence guys at FBI and DOJ want to hide from the public the 40% of documents that Devin and I found during Russiagate, but were unable to get out to the public. The documents that President Trump declassified while he was president of the United States. And now we see reporting in the media that that was one of the reasons, if not the main reason, for this raid to occur. So I tell the audience, stay tuned. I called it long ago that all roads begin and end with Russiagate, and I think we're going to be proven right.
Heck yeah. And it's just, if you think the work we did back in 2022, guys, the work we did back in 2022 is what is manifesting now. As I was saying earlier, the heat we were adding, the ripples we were creating back in 2022 about this is now it's growing. We planted the roots, if you will, of him. We planted the seed. The roots started to take, and then by 2025, 3 years later, basically, here we are, getting very close to actually seeing prosecution type movements happen, publicly talking about these types of things. We are in a place that's changing, and I would say and argue quickly. 3 years is very quick if you think about the speed of government. Some things take 10, 12, 15 years. They take forever. God, the Exxon Valdez lawsuit probably took years. I don't know exactly how many it was. It'd be fun to look it up, almost, if I'm already not long enough on the show. But yes, we got a little bit of this Q video. Tucker, I'm playing this mostly just to, I don't know. I'm not going to say I believe or disbelieve. Jordan Sather actually does a really good job kind of putting his perspective on it. I don't necessarily want to share that either. I want you to kind of feel how you feel about this. I don't think Tucker's right. I'll say that. I mean, I'm going to help a little, but this is being talked about, and sometimes, I find people may say things in a way that I find to be not as helpful as they could, and so it bugs me a little bit, right? Like, oh, you shouldn't think it like that, or you just you could be better. But there's a group of people that resonates with, though, the way it was said, right? Not the way I say it, right? Otherwise, things would be obviously different in a lot of ways, right? So we all resonate the way we do, and we message to who we message. We all have our own eyes. Kind of the way I kind of liken all of us. That's why I try so hard to get us all involved as like a large net, like maybe a fish net, I guess. But yeah, I mean, basically. And so we're all intertwined in our own sort of ways, but we're all doing our own individual form of netting and catching our own individual fish, our own individuals in real life. But so this is, I think, the bigger picture. So I think it's the reason I talk about this stuff, and I think it pisses some people off. But this is, I think, what we're here to do. Teacher of teachers. I mean, I'm holding a flashlight, but there's a job to do, and somebody's got to help move us forward. So what these guys are talking about, I don't know. It's up to you.
I avoid, I'd be listening to something and it would have useful information, and all of a sudden then it would show the whole, and here's Trump and his generals are going to save the world.
No,
go,
I agree.
For Christ's sakes.
But the interesting, I never knew anything about QAnon. I never paid any attention at all. I have a good friend who I really admire, is much smarter than I am, who, because he is smarter than I am, took like a year to look into QAnon.
What do you get?
I don't fully understand it, but here's what I understand is that, some of the predictions in QAnon came true. I mean, it's a sophisticated thing. It's not just...
Oh, I think it's a bunch of ex-spooks.
For sure. It's not a, bunch of college kids on 4chan or whatever they claim it was.
These are guys who are probably pissed that the system went bad.
It was the point of it, and it's unclear, who was behind it. I have some theories, but people I know actually, but I don't know if they're true. But what is obvious to me is that it's a control mechanism. Mm-hmm. Trying to siphon off some of that energy and move it in a
siphoning off the energy. That's
less dangerous direction.
Right. Focus on Wuhan. Right. Focus on the lab in Wuhan. That's siphoning.
It's all American politics. Like have a race war. Leave us alone as we loot your country.
That's right. That's right. There's a meme out there. There's a joke where the king and his right hand man, his chief of staff, are looking at the angry townspeople. Some have pitchforks and some have torches. And the king says, "Don't you have to worry? You just convince the guys with the pitchforks are the enemies of the guys with the torches."
Right. Well,
yeah. So again, QAnon, I think we all, have our own take on it. I think I've said publicly many times, I think it was a psyop, covered both sides, did a lot of things. I liked his analogy for siphoning off. I think it did kind of do that. I think it helped move many of us into a direction that was positive and gave us a way to get involved and feel involved and actually start to, memeing was one of the first Olympic sports when it came to our movement, but really start to get involved and feel like we were making a difference. I mean, certainly was for me. Big time. Like I felt like my whole world turned on, made sense. Everything made sense all of a sudden. And I mean, here I am, I don't know, what is it? It's 8 years now? 9 years? I mean, my old other YouTube channels, like 13 years, I think. Been doing YouTube a while, and then I did radio for about 10 years prior. I got a few years in this racket. But we are heading through a change, guys. I mean, we just are. We are, and we're hopefully helping a lot of people. Live CNBC auditions. Jeffrey Zervos says the Fed is not independent. And it's true. This was interesting. This guy, his points went up a bunch. He was at 9%, I think, prior. He dated Kellyanne Conway. He dated her for a short period of time. Hey, kind of groovy dude. Looks like he has fun. He didn't agree. He was at, they don't have the earlier numbers. I think they show it in here somewhere. His poll numbers kind of sucked. He went up a bunch after this CNBC time, and he disagreed with the dude. The dude kept trying to cut him off too. I mean, it'll be obvious. Check it out.
We can empirically look at Jay Powell, who was put in the role by this president, and he is now clearly at odds in terms of his opinion of the universe and how the economy should be managed with the president.
Yeah.
So by default, you would look at Jay Powell and say, there is somebody who's independent. You may think he's wrong.
Actually, I disagree with that. I think he's actually quite a bit dependent, and he's dependent from the other side of the equation. Right. He's operating politically from the left.
Okay.
Let's put it this way, from the anti-Trump side of the equation.
Sure, whatever it is, but my point is you would look at him and you'd say he is independent from the president, in that he is not doing what the president is telling him to do, correct? You're with me.
From the president, but not from politics. Politics, what drove the September rate cut of 50 basis points? Was that political?
I think what I'm asking you is slightly different.
Yeah.
What I'm asking you is, if the president says to you, hey, I need you to do X, Y, Z, do you feel that you can say on TV right now that if you actually in your own brain are an independent human being and disagree with the president, that you can go out publicly and say, you know what? I'm not doing that because I don't think that's the right thing for the economy.
I think you would take into account, Andrew, all of the political pressures that come from Congress, that come from the administration, that come from all of the variety of sources that they come from, and you make a decision which is going to be consistent with the goal of the institution, which is maximum employment, price stability, and making sure inflation expectations are anchored. If the president is saying something that you agree with, you shouldn't just fight with them because you want
I'm
to
not
look at it
suggesting-
and
no,
say,
by the way,
oh, I'm
By the way, and
potentially not independent because I'm agreeing with the president.
All right, so obviously it went a little interesting. I like the fact the dude wears tennis shoes. He's wearing like Vans or something. That's freaking rad. I like that. I don't know. I like him just because he's so laid back. Chinese tech giants are still buying the NVIDIA H20 chips. These are the ones where 15% of that tack on extra money goes straight to the tariffs. And they're still buying the crap out of these chips because they need them. So right now, that's working out well for NVIDIA and the United States. It's an inferior chip. It has a possible backdoor, which NVIDIA's like, no. Which, whoever from the CIA ever admits when they're doing something wrong, right? Interviews to replace Fed chair are going to start around Labor Day. Before, after, right around there, start happening. Oh, that's a great picture of Bessent, right? You guys like that one? That's pretty good. That's a great picture. I love this dude. I don't know what it is. Something about him. I don't know what it is. It's me. Maybe I'm just gay, right? Who's the other one? I like the dude that dances to the MG with the whatever the OMG guy. What the hell's his name? Whatever the hell. Anyway, I'm joking about the gay thing. I hope. Gold. Let's see. Gold's down a little bit. I think we'll see if it catches up. Yeah, everything's down today. This is like fourth day of down. It's not bad down. It's like sort of down, but it's a slow, steady slide. Everybody's tripping on this speech that Powell's supposed to be doing. I just saw today that there's talk that likely no rate change coming up, which is what I thought would happen. I think would happen. I think I've kind of publicly whispered it. But I think he's in a place where he kind of can't. And there's so many people that are telling him that he has to, that I think he can't even more. You know, he's like one of those things where like the harder you pull the knot, right, the knot gets tighter, right? It just doesn't, like you're never going to be able to do it that way. And it seems like the harder we push him, the more he just, bends or what. I don't know what the hell. My analogy falls apart here, but whatever. So yeah. Look, if you're attached to stocks in dollars, because the inflation and stuff, again, with the Fed, I don't know, Trump's trying to get us to get control of it before the deep state's going to let us have it. All I can say is what precious metals do is they save your buying power. Okay, whatever cash you have, if you got $10,000 sitting in your hands right now, $10,000 will buy what $10,000 will buy right now, okay? And it'll buy a little over, close to 3 ounces, about 3 ounces almost of gold. Let's just make it easy and call it that, right? That's pretty close. That's what it'll buy. 3 ounces of gold and $10,000 you can buy, I don't even know. You can buy what you buy. In 5 years from now, $10,000 is not going to buy the same shit it buys right now at all. I mean, assuming that things continue inflating, I think we got to get off the Fed, but we'll see it play out. But the dollar's inflating at a reasonably fast pace, not overly so, but just you're losing money every day. What it was worth, it's like 8,000% loss compared to what it was in 1971 or whatever when Nixon took us off the gold standard to where we are right now. We've lost buying power like mad. So what it does is it takes the buying power right now before it's reduced tomorrow more by inflation. It takes it right now, locks in that buying power, and gives you an amount of gold and silver to hold that buying power, kind of like a bobber in the water, right? The water goes up and down, the bobber's going to go with it. But ultimately, it holds the buying power. And as inflation happens, the price of gold always and continues to go up. In fact, it's actually done better than inflation typically, but they often say also, which would make less sense, so I don't know, that the same, like a gold, they use the idea of a tailored suit, right? Ounce of gold, you could buy a tailored suit in 1900. Today, you can buy a tailored suit for what it costs for an ounce of gold. It's still, you can obviously get more expensive, but a tailored suit, $3,500, $3,300, whatever. Yeah, there you go. Look, if you've got a 401k or an IRA, you have the opportunity to move out tax-free, penalty-free. Take as much of that buying power, take as much of that value right now, and move it over to a place where it's going to hold that value. It's actual physical metals. It's not paper contracts. Literally physical metals put into a trust. Tax-free, penalty-free. Up to 10% free silver tacked on. You're just going to get some extra silver. Silver's a thing they probably picked up a bunch of it at a good price back just even a year or two ago. It's up, I think it was 28 something when I was looking at it earlier in the day. You can get out and you can hold that value. And if you ever need to draw from it, you can. If you want to continue to pay into it, you can. It's an IRA. It's a precious metals IRA. It's an actual investment vehicle that allows you to do this. Tax-free, penalty-free. You're going to probably get the free Ronald Reagan coin. I think that's still going to be out there. If not, you should ask for it when you talk to somebody. Be like, you guys still got that Ronald Reagan coin? They'll send it to you, I bet. I bet you they will. I bet you they will. They got some great stuff. Get your gold and silver kit. Learn how you can take as much of that buying power with you, because things are going to happen that's going to take that down a notch or two or three. Don't know when exactly. I don't think it's far away, though. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. DRS. Dan RadioStyle. DRSlikesgold.com. Let my good friends at Goldco help you out. This is definitely they're really good. They're quick. They've got DocuSign and stuff. Like, it's just like, it takes time. It can take a couple weeks, couple months. Depends on you. Depends on you. You got Fidelity, you got any of those guys. Get this stuff going. Start moving forward, and you'll feel a lot better about yourself. You'll feel a lot better about what you're doing for your wealth. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system before that system gets out of you. All right. Hundreds of health issues. The Health and Human Service employees are sending letters to RFK Jr. asking him to stop spreading misinformation, whatever. Just putting it out there. There's a bunch of people that signed a bunch of letters, curious if they keep their jobs, but it happened. U.S. and EU release a bunch of details on their trade. Nothing too exciting. I think it's 30% on most stuff. Trump imposed a 15 flat rate in European goods, half the 30% he threatened. I'm sorry, so it's 15%. And yeah, on most EU imports, including autos, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, chips, lumber. This is a pretty big deal that he signed all this stuff. We'll see how it all plays out. Also, he did mention the secretarial tariff discounts on cars, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, as well as new commitments for addressing the bloc's digital services regulations. So that was another thing they were not happy with, right? The thing like Apple backdoor and trying to censor us and just a lot of crazy stuff that's going on. The suspected attacker of the Nord Stream pipeline, the guy that put it all together, was apparently arrested in Italy. He was apparently Ukrainian as well. Kremlin makes clear there are no Zelensky-Putin talks on the horizon. They haven't scheduled anything. A lot of it has to do with, I think Zelensky essentially coming to terms with the fact that he's going to have to temporarily give up the land. We're going to get there in a second. They put it in an interesting way, and I kind of like the way they're spinning it. Switzerland saying it won't arrest Putin if he enters there if he does the peace summit there. That's so stupid. Putin's no way in hell he's going to go to Switzerland. Oh, you're not going to arrest me even though you could. No, I'm not going there. F you. They'd totally arrest him. They'd probably shoot him dead. Switzerland, lying sacks of poo. Donald Trump, truth this, it is very hard, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking an invader's country. It's like a great team in sports that has a fantastic defense, but is not allowed to play offense. There is no chance of winning. It is like that with Ukraine and Russia. Crooked and grossly incompetent Joe Biden would not let Ukraine fight back, only defend. How did that work out? Regardless, this is a war that we should have never happened. If I were president, zero chance it would have happened. I don't know, I'm messing it up here. But anyways, interesting times ahead. Donald Trump. Lavrov outlines the terms for the Putin-Zelensky meeting. Says that stated Thursday that the Russian president repeatedly said that he is ready to meet, including with Zelensky, only if, I'm adding that part, only, adding, if there is consideration at the highest level that they've been worked through. Essentially, if you've worked through all the stuff that we put on that agreement that we talked about, and you're actually like dealt with that, and maybe have a response you want to throw back, cool. Otherwise, no. If you just want to talk just to talk, what's it going to change? No, we're not going to fly a bunch of people out there. It's just not a good idea. It's dangerous. Now, Ukraine is, so says this this analyst, who used to be in there, so, take it for a grain of salt, but Ukraine's preliminary position is as follows. We understand that one of the basic scenarios is get out of this war is freezing the conflict along the front line. So some territory would remain de facto Russian, he added. De jure, no one would recognize those territories as Russian, which is true, and great efforts would be needed to exert through economic, diplomatic, and other tools to get them back. So there might be this possibility where they try to work out this Hail Mary, if you will, that we'll get this land back, but we'll accept the fact that right now it's not ours anymore for the moment. Right? It's still ours, but it's not occupied by us. That's a pretty solid way to move, and it sounds like them trying to leak out what might happen. See, they've got to have a way to look like they did the good thing, right? We were mighty, fighters, but ultimately we lost some land. I don't know. You lose games, right? Sucks. You lost a lot of people, supposedly too. 1.7 million, as the leaked documents said. North Korea's top officers abruptly pulled out of Russia, and what this could mean for the Ukraine peace talk. Now, it's funny. This story kind of spins it in a weird way, but if they pulled the North Korean top military officers out of there, to me it kind of sounds like they don't need them anymore. Meaning, this war may be ending. So that's a lot of commanders coming back home, maybe to prepare for the next I don't know, if they're deep state or not. Again, they were working with Russia, so I assume they're not deep state. So they're going back home. A bunch of those guys. It's kind of interesting news, I think. A couple other things to cover here. Israelis call up 60,000 reservists ahead of the Gaza City takeover, getting a bunch of artillery ready and stuff. So they're about ready to start pummeling anybody that's still stuck in Gaza. Within a couple weeks, it sounds like. That we'll see how it plays out. Again, Meta freezes hiring in the AI division. This is where they're going to spend like $100 million sign-in bonuses and all this nonsense. It sounds like they didn't necessarily get the people they wanted to get, or I don't know, they're restructuring. I mean, that's what he kind of admits they're doing. They're doing a hiring freeze. They said they're sort of restructuring kind of what they've got. There's like 4 working teams that they're going through. So one working team's doing super intelligence, called the TBD lab. That houses many of the new hires. A second working on AI products, a third working on infrastructure, and a fourth dedicated to projects with a longer time horizon and more exploration, the people said. That's so funny because we kind of did stuff similar to that at my old company. And the one I used to work at, they're still doing stuff like that. I'm just no longer a part of it. Delta plane lands with damaged wing in Texas. This is a Boeing plane. And this is structural, so I'll eat this one today. Sorry.
Aviation is investigating after part of a Delta plane's wing broke during a flight Tuesday. A passenger filmed the plane landing with a damaged wing. The flight took off from Orlando and landed safely in Austin, Texas as planned. Passengers said that they noticed something had partially broken away from the wing during the flight. A video shows a flap hanging loose behind the wing. Delta said in a statement that there was a problem with the flap and the plane has been taken out of service for repairs. There were 62 passengers and 6 crew members on board. No injuries were reported.
Wait, you took it out of circulation? That thing should have been backing right on up out of there. Beep, beep, moving on out. Yeah, that's pretty jacked. I mean, it probably had a little bit of, he was probably having a little fun with the ailerons maybe. I'm sure that was throwing a little bit of slug because it's on the outer part of the wing too. So the other side would have been a little funk compared to that. But I don't know how bad. Anyway, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Love that. Good job, Boeing. Let's see. Dashcam captures fireball streaking across the sky. This is pretty cool. I think this is close to where it actually happens. I don't know. It's just something neat.
Fukushima.
That's right. Dashcam footage captured the moment when the ball of light briefly lit up the night sky.
The bright object.
So I just, again, think shooting stars are awesome. Something that, one, means a lot to me. It's symbolic. And then two, I've spent years stargazing and seeing that in satellites. Lots of satellites when I was younger, especially. But I know it's tough for the flat Earth thing. I want to say on this one, this is not a fisheye lens. Fisheye lenses bend things badly. This is not really that. So I mean, again, pretty good too. That was one thing I was wondering about early on. In the in the game, I guess you could say. Hulk Hogan's cause of death is sort of in question now. There was apparently a surgery that he had, and it cut his phrenic nerve. And apparently the phrenic nerve is the nerve that's used or is a part of breathing, and that might have somehow, like, it got maybe slightly cut from a surgery and not totally like broken, but maybe he did something or whatever and it snapped and then he couldn't breathe. They called it a heart attack, but he might not have been able to breathe. He might literally have just suffocated. Like, I mean, he would have passed out. It would have been scary, and then you would have blacked out. It probably wouldn't have been horribly painful, but certainly scary, because you just wouldn't be able to breathe. It wouldn't happen. You'd be like, it'd be like someone was sitting on you and you couldn't breathe, or a python squeezing you. Like I said, it'd be terrifying, but you'd eventually just pass out. I don't know why. For me, it's like pain. I don't want pain. New York City's most secretive mansion stands to list for the first time in decades following the death of its heiress owner. I only bring it up because, one, the heiress owner was part of a pharmaceutical family. And the address is 666 Park Avenue. It's a triplex mansionette at the base of the 660 Park Avenue Co-op Tower. It stands at East 67th Street, which is one number off. So she shared it with her late husband, who died in 1987. She just recently passed away, and now people will be able to buy it. I guess they've taken away the 666 number. They've made it like in lieu, like, to make it look like it's part of the 660. But they've got their own entrance next to the main entrance of the hotel. It's at the bottom, or it's got a big chunk of the anyway, that's some crazy ass thing. Whatever, rich people and the things they do. Cracker Barrel's pissing everybody off. I don't know. I've been there before, and I thought it was cool. I get it. But, yeah, they've changed. Their emblem is now this boring one over here, not the cool one that had a barrel and some old crackers sitting next to it. But this one here, nope. Boring as hell. And fans are not happy about it. There's some guy that posted how it sucked being inside the restaurant. Anyway, yeah, people are pissed off about Cracker Barrel. All said, it is what it is. We're moving forward. Guys, I've got a live Law of One show coming up here in literally about 1 hour, 59 minutes. Who's counting? But I love you guys, and we're going to continue pushing forward. You guys making your ripples. You're making a huge difference. I just hope to keep it up and keep getting bigger and bigger and stronger and keep growing. And I think you'll find amazing differences in how fast things will start to change in the big picture when the more of us start to get more involved. It's going to be cool. I love you guys. Where we go one, we freaking go all, baby. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.